Hello, beautiful humans. Let's talk about Mother Mary, what she could mean for us on a spiritual level if we're drawn to her or want to deepen our connection with her, and a simple prayer that you can say to her for this to be facilitated. I think of Our Lady as our kind of inner cosmic GPS, our navigation system. And the reason I think this has to do with how she lived her life on the physical level and then the forms that she's taken through apparitions and icons many, many, many years later, and that are still worshipped around the world by pilgrims that are seeking that divine guidance and protection. So, when she was on earth, her life was pretty dangerous. She was an unwed mother, for a start, which could have resulted in her being stoned to death according to the laws of the time. She had to flee her homelands into Egypt. She had to navigate the potential drama and difficulty and, let's face it, devastation and despair of her son being crucified and all of the political uproar around that whole process and that series of circumstances. She didn't live a comfortable and quiet life once she was called to her divine purpose. How she navigated all of those incredibly challenging situations was through her divine connection. There were visitations from angels and messages and knowings in her heart. I actually visited the Grotto of the Annunciation in Nazareth, and it was so powerful and so beautiful. You get just a few seconds in front of it because there's so many people that are coming to see it. And I remember standing there for a moment and you stand there and then boom, it just, the spiritual magnetism just hits you. I cried. I held up my icons that I wanted blessed. One for me, one for a family member. I just kind of did that. And then, you shuffle it on. I'm just like, what was that? You don't even get a moment to fully process it until later. But it was so powerful. And I thought, this is here, all of these years later. And it's still so vibrant and so powerful. There's a beautiful story that when she was in Egypt, there was a date palm tree that's sacred to the goddess Isis, actually, and the myth, the story, the legend goes that it bowed to her as she walked past. How beautiful. Just had to tell you that because I caught a palm tree like in my garden out of the corner of my eye when I was sitting here with you guys. Anyway, so that's her life on earth, but the forms that came later, there are just a handful of them that I think are so aligned with this idea of her as our GPS in our hearts, helping us find our way through treacherous waters, right? Through the difficulties of our own emotional lives, but also the events that happen in the collective psyche, the collective waters of mind and emotion on the planet. One of those forms is Stella Maris, so that's the star of the sea. She was literally looked to for navigation and protection for sailors. Another form that I really love is Our Lady of Charity, and the story goes that there were some sailors at sea in a very small vessel that suddenly struck a very dangerous situation where the environment became incredibly stormy and they were fearful of drowning and dying. And they prayed to Our Lady and then noticed this kind of thing with almost a supernatural glow bobbing on the ocean while everything was kind of crazy and dark and threatening and foreboding. And as they noticed it getting closer, they picked it up. And first of all, it was completely dry, even though it was in the water. And it was a little statue of Our Lady. And they held onto it, felt calm, and they were saved. So this whole idea of Our Lady of Charity emerged from that. And then another form that I really love is Our Lady of Guadalupe. And one of the things I love about her the most is that she asks a man, Juan Diego, who's an indigenous man that has very little political power, to go and speak to the bishop to ask that a temple be established, a shrine be established on this particular sacred spot that has a long history of association with the divine feminine. And this man very rightfully said to her, after, noticing that it's the most beautiful woman that he'd ever seen appearing on the spiritual level, it was Our Lady, but just saying to her, he won't speak to me. Like, what do you do? I have no power. He has so much power. And her response was, I'm your mother, do it. And trust me. And he does eventually, and it takes a couple of times, but she's with him. She manifests a miracle through him. She gets her will done. And what I love about this so much is that it wasn't through worldly means. She could have gone to another bishop higher up and said, get this to happen, but she didn't. She did it in this way with this man that didn't have a lot of power. Why? I think she was telling us something. I don't think there was oh, well, let's just do it this way. I think there was a wisdom in it. And there's something around the ability to connect with our spiritual inner alignment and through that find our way in this world so obsessed with power and control and dominance and oppression and all of the things that come out of human ignorance of our connectedness at a spiritual level, and instead find a way to accomplish what needs to be done without having to be seduced into the ways of society, and instead remaining true to our hearts and ourselves. I think that's so essential in this day and age where it's very easy to start believing that money is the answer to everything, and it's really not. So coming back into that heart space, coming back into that connection, reaffirming your belief that there can be good and effective things and a joyful and fulfilling life that happens through the guidance that you receive spiritually that helps you navigate the kind of psychological and emotional equivalent of stormy seas and dangerous conditions where things are not certain and where a sense of protection and comfort and confidence and courage are really needed to be restored within. So Our Lady can do that for us. What I want to do is share a prayer with you so that you have one way to speak with her. You can do this from your heart in any way, of course, but sometimes it's nice to have something that you can start with. So the prayer that I thought we could share is actually from the Kuan Yin transmission CD for the Mother Mary track. It's the opening. So it's Ave Maria, gratia plena, Sancta Maria Mater Dei. And it basically means, Hail Mary, full of grace, you are the Mother of God, Holy Mother of God. What does that mean? I'm not a particularly religious person. I'm a very spiritually inclined human being. So for me, the tradition and the culture that something arises out of, I'm grateful for it, but I don't feel bound by it. So there is a sense that in this, you don't have to be a Christian person to pray to her. You don't have to have a particular belief system other than a feeling of a heart connection with her. There is this message that she gives the Indigenous man. I am your mother. You are my own. I will not abandon you. Have faith in me. This, when she's speaking to this man, he's not from that, tradition. He wasn't. He was a native person. So this significance is there. This sense of she belongs to all hearts. So please remember that. If you resonate with the Christian tradition, great. If you don't, it's okay too. It's not going to stop you from connecting when there is a pure desire and a sense of love in your heart to want to connect. So when you say this prayer, Ave Maria, gratia plena, Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, Ave Maria, gratia plena, Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, Ave Maria, gratia plena, Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, what you're really saying is, Beloved Mary, you who are divine grace, you who know how to bring the heavenly truth and alignment into the material world, be with me, bless me, never abandon me, empower me, protect me, guide me, show me the way. I hope that if you have this desire to connect more with Our Lady, that this has given you a way to do so. I also have numerous programs, Rosa Mystica, Rose of Venus, the Mysterium of the Madonna. There's a book, the Kuan Yin Transmission, that has chapters on all of the 5 enlightened mothers, including Our Lady, Mother Mary, that you can connect with if you want more resources. I also have a number of things that are free online connected to her. There's a mandala of the Madonna, the webinars, there's all sorts of things. So please feel free to just browse the website, alanafairchild.com, if you want to find out more or connect on any of the tags that have shown up in this video. But know that she is with you. The opportunities that I've created with her for you to go deeper are there for you if you want them. But it's always enough to start small and trust the seeds of that process. She's with you in your heart already. So much love, dear one.